My name is Arya and welcome to Baha'i Basics, where we learn about the Baha'i faith. In this episode, we're going to talk about backbiting and why the Baha'i teachings warn us against it and consider it to be so harmful. I should probably clarify that this is about talking badly about others when they're not around, not so much the physical act of biting another person's back. That one's fine. I'm just kidding, it's not don't bite people. This isn't that kind of video.
Denied.
Roll the title card. Backbiting, as defined in the Baha'i faith, is the act of discussing the faults of others in their absence, and is considered to be the worst human quality and the most great sin.
Oh no!
There really is no gentler way to phrase it, you guys. In a nutshell, backbiting is bad, like really bad, and the Baha'i writings don't shy away from addressing just how serious it is. Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, states that backbiting quencheth the light of the heart and extinguisheth the life of the soul. Extinguisheth the life of the soul? I'm gonna need a minute. The Baha'i writings talk about how we must breathe not the sins of others so long as thou art thyself a sinner. This is similar to other religious guidance. For example, when in the Gospel of John in the Bible, which states that, "Let him who is without sin cast the first stone." What this means is that as much as we can focus on the faults of others, we ourselves are full of our own shortcomings, that we would just be hypocritical to focus on the faults of others instead of our own. I think one thing that contributes to making backbiting so harmful is that it's extremely easy to do. I mean, how many times have we found ourselves in a situation where people just start talking about others? It can be so hard to avoid when it just happens everywhere and to all of us at any given time. And it's not that we are so intrinsically averse to backbiting either. I mean, I know when I hear some gossip or talk about others, curiosity just takes over. It's just too juicy, okay? I can't avoid it. I just can't help it, but oh gosh. I mean, no, not me. I just others, you know. I would never. Moving on. In order to really understand why we shouldn't backbite, we first need to understand why exactly is it considered to be so harmful. In the Baha'i faith especially, where the guiding teaching is that of unity and oneness, backbiting is the ultimate disunifier. It directly opposes our efforts to foster love and unity, and instead creates division, suspicion, and animosity. Okay, so we know backbiting is bad, but how do we avoid it? It's important to recognize that we are trying to avoid something that happens so casually and consistently in society, so it will take a mighty effort for us to fight against. Thankfully, the Baha'i writings has offered us guidance on how we can combat this negative practice. Abdu'l-Baha, the son and successor of Baha'u'llah, shares that whenever we start to recognize a fault in another person, to immediately think of our own imperfections instead. We can ask ourselves, what are my imperfections? What are my faults and flaws and shortcomings? How can I improve? As a result, we can pivot away from fault finding in others and focus instead on the betterment of our own growth and development. When we hear others talk negatively about someone else who isn't present, we can try our best in the most friendly manner to make an effort to stop that conversation from continuing, or even to try and change the subject altogether. But what about if you had a friend that needs to talk to you about something that involves other people, and they genuinely just need your help to figure it out? Well, we can still be of assistance, but without naming names or sharing specific details. That way we could still be of help without having to bring another person down. In this way, we can focus on the person before us and hopefully find a way to listen without judgment and bring unity. I know it can be uncomfortable to curtail a conversation, especially when many friends are deeply involved. And as Baha'is, it's important too that we practice tact in social settings. There are times where it may be wise to not say anything at all, and without being rude, finding a way to excuse yourself from the conversation. The same way negative words can have a negative effect, positive words can have a positive effect. The Baha'i writings encourage us to look past people's flaws and focus only on what is positive instead. There is a story that Abdu'l-Baha shares about Jesus Christ to better illustrate this concept. One day, while Christ was walking with his apostles, they passed by the corpse of a dead animal. One of them said, "How putrid has this animal become?" The other exclaimed, "How it is deformed." A third cried out, "What a stench! How cadaverous looking!" But His Holiness Christ said, "Look at its teeth, how white they are." Not once did Christ consider the defects of the animal, but rather found the one praiseworthy trait instead, its beautiful white teeth. Baha'u'llah states that the tongue is for mentioning what is good, defile it not with unseemly talk. Everyone should utter that which is meet and seemly, and should refrain from slander, abuse, and whatever causeth sadness. At the end of the day, it is so important to recognize that we are all just human, and this can be a very complicated and difficult challenge to overcome. Trust me, I'm right there with you. The most we can do is to simply try our best to overcome the inclination to backbite, to make efforts to only see the good in others, and remember instead that we have our own shortcomings that require our full attention. I guess I have a few. We all have the capacity to develop a resistance towards things that create disunity, and we all benefit when we support each other in trying to not backbite or gossip. I'll leave you with this quote from the Baha'i writings. Each of us is responsible for one life only, and that is our own. Each of us is immeasurably far from being perfect, and the task of perfecting our own life and character is one that requires all our attention, our willpower, and energy. On no subject are the Baha'i teachings more emphatic than on the necessity to abstain from fault-finding and backbiting, while being ever eager to discover and root out our own faults and overcome our own failings. Nice. And there you have it. That's my very basic explanation on the importance of refraining from backbiting. Make sure you click subscribe for more videos on Baha'i Basics. And if you're curious about any of the topics we discussed in this video, check out the links in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye! Just making sure my back is safe.